Hello and welcome. My name is Olivia.Baumgardner, and today I will be evaluating the Sykesville Community Garden Program and its public health and environmental benefits. I will also be recommending strategies for further community impact. Eileen M. Merkel Community Garden is Sykesville's primary and longest running community garden plot. Eileen was a major benefactor in the establishment of this program. I'm not sure who she was affiliated with or when she founded this, but it is located in downtown Sykesville, and it's directly downhill from the town hall on Main Street proper, and it's hidden from the main street by a small hedge. Other locations include the historic African American Schoolhouse Museum and the Little Tykes Train Park, both of which are newer, much newer. They were um, established in the last few years. So the community garden locations are managed by the Green, Clean, and Safe Committee, which is one of 5 subcommittees designed by the nonprofit organization called Downtown Sykesville Connection um, to promote sustainable economic growth and development on Sykesville's Main Street. They work in partnership with Sykesville Public Works Department and the Parks and Recreation Department, and the Downtown Sykesville Connection is accredited by the Main Street America organization, which funds and provides educational and operational advancement opportunities to drive sustainable infrastructural restoration and economic revitalization in downtown centers and on main streets nationwide. In my opinion, community gardens are one of the best ways to engage citizens in both public health and environmental stewardship. Sykesville community gardens supply hyper-local food pantries and individual Sykesville citizens with seasonal, nutrient-dense produce at no cost, which supports public health in an equitable way. And even newer community-led fridges and pantries contribute to more egalitarian distribution while quietly shifting food aid from a nonprofit charity power dynamic to a dynamic that's more community-driven, equitable, and focused on mutual aid. Its hyper-local scale helps keep products fresh and helps a small community access food aid at all in general. Um, while their specific growing practices are not disclosed, their implicit messaging about their sustainability goals does suggest that they do not use any pesticides or artificial soil amendments. Their co-planting and cover cropping improves soil health, which in turn improves the nutrient density of the produce that they distribute to their citizens. Excuse me, their commitment to pollinator health, composting, and co-planting native plants with vegetables helps to improve the town's air quality, soil health, and ecosystem balance. Engaging citizens in communal food production and environmental stewardship connects people to each other and to their surroundings. And in turn, it fosters pride, and fostering pride promotes communal responsibility, collectivism, and mutual aid, which helps promote public health and overall community resilience. Farming methods in Sykesville community gardens are dedicated to restoring biodiversity and restoring soil health by way of interplanting vegetables with flowers, rotating crops seasonally, and leaving plant coverage on beds during the winter months, or cover cropping. Pollinator-friendly flowers in the city planters are also prioritized. Their website does not mention their use of pesticides, herbicides, or synthetic fertilizers, but its tiny scale combined with their other weed reduction and ecosystem-wide pest management techniques do lead me to believe that they do not use any of these, but some clarification would be appreciated on their part. Their hyper-local scale does ensure that they have short value chains and that they reduce distribution and transportation emissions. And then their regenerative practices do reduce runoff and improve their soil health and the porosity of their soil. Techniques like no-till planting, organic amendments like compost, and their co-planting strategies support healthy ecosystems and pollinator health. Their growing practices do promote and protect biodiversity and indigenous ecosystems as well. Pollinators, co-planting, and wildflower utilization help rebuild biodiversity while reintroducing native plants back into the ecosystem. Flowers and plants like the black-eyed Susan, coneflowers or echinacea, and lamb's quarters are grown alongside other more traditional vegetables and fruits like cucumbers or tomatoes or strawberries. Um, Additionally, lamb's quarters can be eaten and can serve as another um, regenerative food source. There are several areas of Sykesville's community garden program that could be improved upon to both expand access to fresh foods and to connect more people to their mission. Sykesville is a primarily white city with histories of segregation and racism. Sykesville is also in a red or Republican county with complex relationships with white flight, wealth stratification, and race. Predominant social mores in Sykesville quietly prescribe that speaking about difference is inappropriate, and the overarching fear or concern about remaining apolitical in conversation keeps discussions about inequity colorblind at both the government level and the interpersonal level. This, combined with a broader bootstraps ideology and an underlying current of old school economic beliefs, dictate how the Downtown Sykesville Connection and Sykesville government address food access and land use conversations. Specific efforts must be made to explicitly include Black, Brown, and Indigenous community members and their families, as well as explicit inclusion of community members who do not work for the government. We live right outside of DC and are facing poverty. So scaling up distribution, we have a central location, but how do we reach more people and how do we get more people to become involved? So despite being centrally located on Main Street, not many people know about the garden or know how to get involved in it. Most citizens do not know how it works. They don't know the rules. They say, can I just take vegetables from the garden? Will I get into trouble? Do I have to ask permission, sign up, or volunteer to get the vegetables? Most lands or gardens are private, and it's really hard to relearn how to participate in public land stewardship and access without stronger education or more ubiquitous messaging. So, online messaging, signage, or stronger on the ground communication about the structure of public gardens and how the town can use them would be really helpful. And there is so much opportunity to work with local restaurants in the planting phase and the harvesting phase. Any kind of coordination could help restaurants plan specials around available community garden produce. And it would be helpful to clarify the scale of the garden first before this. Is it even possible to work with the local restaurants? Is it even a goal? Or is the garden just primarily meant to supply individual households with fresh produce? Within the context of a culture of intense apoliticism, food is still inherently political, and it's crucial for a community garden to address systemic forces that lead to inequitable food access. So without a systems lens, the community garden's mission remains unanchored and uncontextualized. So by addressing inequity, we can actually work towards equity. However uncomfortable or inflammatory it can potentially be, in order to make changes to the way food is accessed and land is used, Sykesville must include explicit education about inequity in its community garden programming. So mobilizing community members around gardening, land use and stewardship, and food access must include education and discussions about why these ideas and actions are important and why they matter. By giving citizens immediate ways to affect changes to their environment, Sykesville Community Gardens' mission can be translated into collective action while demonstrating the interconnections between neighbors, the land, and the food that we eat. As I mentioned previously, all of the food retailers on Main Street are locally owned. There's a list of them on the left here. If a liaison for individual restaurants met with a community garden representative, or vice versa, if a liaison from the community garden program met with individual restaurants, specials could be designed and promoted quickly to utilize an abundance of a specific ingredient, whether it be tomatoes, lettuce, kale, edible flowers, etc. The communication and planning between restaurants and the gardens would depend on the garden scaling plans, as well as the availability of the produce. So clarifying the garden's scale and their overall goals will help local institutions better utilize the produce. Sykesville's community gardens are very laid back and welcoming to all ages or demographics who are willing to volunteer their time. They do contribute to more democratized food access. So public utilities should include food and land, and including these in any capacity in a town's design is a step in the right direction. This garden has a lot of potential to teach the Sykesville community about the connections between environmental and human health. If utilized in a way that promotes equity and comprehensive environmental and social education, growing food for the collective good can unite a group of people and strengthen interpersonal relationships. What is good for the planet is good for the people. As always, thank you so much for your your time and your feedback.